Buenos días, clase. Vamos a hablar sobre Module 5, Módulo 5, Module 5, uh, Module 5, 0.02. Okay, so 05.02, Listo para el viaje. Okay, so this is ready for the trip. That's what the whole theme is for this lesson. And I'm going to walk through. Again, this lesson's a lot of vocab. This is new vocab and new grammar, mostly in this lesson. So your theme, a lot of this theme is going to talk about in this first section is antes de viajar, like what before you travel. What do you have to do before you travel? Taking a trip is fun, but getting ready for a trip can be stressful. It's important to be organized, patient, and on time. Okay, this is your chance to get your note guide right here. Download that. If you click it, it should pull up and you can print it or you can save it as a Word document and edit it if you prefer to do it that way. Or you can print it and you can write on the note guide. There are different points that it'll point you to pulling out your note guide and writing in it, and I'll point those out as we walk through. Okay, so click to the next section. Okay, el día del viaje. El día del viaje, ¿qué haces cuando llegas al aeropuerto o cuando llegas al puerto? Si viajas por avión, primero vas al mostrador de la línea aérea y facturas tus maletas. Luego pasas por la inspección de seguridad. Finalmente buscas la puerta de embarque y te sientas en el asiento. Now you're ready to learn as you prepare for your next adventure. Again, this is all in Spanish. If you need the English, you can always, if you see this globe, all the English will be pulled up. Okay, again, this section is talking about you have the opportunity to become a word explorer. This is really just all your brand new vocab. And you've got all these different ones. Okay, so this is all your new vocabulary. So you've got a really great thing here, whereas if you click this, you have the vocabulary, hacer fila, wait in line or form a line. You can hear it, listen to it.
Hacer fila.
Okay, hacer fila. All right, you can open this and you can record yourself. If you watched my last video, I had to do this multiple times last time. It couldn't hear me very well, so you may have to lean in, and especially if you're in a loud place. Hacer fila. Okay, so if you get an all green, that means you said it perfectly. And it does kind of record you, so it will like pull up right here. If you saw my last video, it'll say what it understood as you saying, what it heard you saying. And so it'll give you pointers. So it's really a great opportunity to practice your vocabulary. Okay, so, and you can hear it again. Hacer fila. Okay, so you can listen to what you said again. Okay, I think you can also download the audio, but if you want. Okay, you click through all of the vocab, practice listening to it, practice speaking it and recording yourself. It's a really, really nice tool that's in your virtual class. Down here below is just, again, more practice. So click through all that for your new vocabulary. You can also, if you want to just look at the text version, you can pull that up and it'll show you that. But I don't think you can practice it in this one, so you might stick with the other way. Just the picture interactive one. Go back to show interactive and it'll pop back up like this. Again, this link is prompting you to get out your note guide and review your vocabulary and write it down so you can have it. Your cognates here. Cognates are words that look like the same meaning in English as they are in Spanish, or they look like English words. So they have the same meaning in Spanish as in English, and they look very similar to the English. So you have el capitán, la capitana, el destino, el piloto, la piloto. Okay, so click through the next section. And you have atención. If you're going on a trip with tu amiga, you'll use the preposition con. In most situations, you will use con plus the subject. So you have con él, with him, con ella, with her, con nosotros, with us, con ustedes, with you all, con ellos, with them, con ellas, with them. When you want to say with me and with you can't use con plus subject because it's grammatically incorrect. Instead, you'll use conmigo and contigo. Conmigo is with me, contigo is with you. Okay, so an example is navegaste en el crucero, Navegaste en el crucero conmigo. You sailed on the cruise with me. Hice la fila del mostrador de la línea aérea contigo. I waited in the line of the airline counter with you. Your contractions. English has a lot of contractions. Some examples are can't, don't, should've, we're, they'll, but Spanish only has two, al and del. A2 is a is two, plus l is all. De, which is of or from in English, plus l is del. So you have al or del. This is to thee, and this is from thee. Del is from thee, to is to thee. Okay. La pasajera iba al mostrador. The passenger went to the counter. Fuimos del aeropuerto a la casa. We went from the airport to the house. Remember, the contractions can only be formed with L. If you have the preposition a or de with la, los, or las, you will write out the contractions. So the contractions will be a la, or a los, a las, or de la, or de los, de las. You don't combine those in any way to make a contraction. So it's just some different examples, different usages. So make sure it's the masculine L if you want to make a contraction. Again, prompting you to get out your note guide and write in those notes. Okay, so go to the next section. Okay, gramática nueva. Let me make sure I have enough time. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, gramática nueva. Stem changing verbs in the preterite tense. Okay, Javi is a little nervous. Quiso llevar a Ana a comer a un restaurante. Can you guess to what type of restaurant he wants to take her to? Check out the video to learn more about the nerve-wracking experience. Grab your note guide, prompting you to get your note guide, and enjoy this video. So you watch the video.
Bienvenidos a mi blog, chicos. Estoy muy emocionado porque Anita, la hermana de Reni, aceptó salir a comer conmigo. Quiero llevarla a un restaurante francés muy caro, pero no sé si a ella le gusta la comida francesa, así que le voy a preguntar a Reni.
Okay, so he speaks really fast. If you want to read through his script, this is the script. Okay, so you can also print it if you want. Then down here, there's a self-check. Okay, so last week, where did Javi want to take Anita? Okay, you click Javi wanted to take Anita to a Colombian restaurant. Okay, so you can click here and check yourself on what you understood in that example. So these are still, so it's giving you the intro to stem changing verbs in the preterite tense. So stem changing verbs in the preterite tense, when using regular stem changing verbs in the imperfect tense, there are no big changes to their stems. You just need to change the endings. Okay, so if you open this, it'll show you kind of what your imperfect tense endings were. Yo, and I'll use hablar as an example. Hablaba, hablabas, hablaba, hablabamos, hablabais, hablaban. Okay. Comía, comer, comía, comías, comía, comíamos, comíais, comían. So these are all your preterite endings. This is your imperfect tense endings for regular verbs, and this is your preterite tense endings for regular verbs. So this is a good little review if you need it. Okay, so you just need to change the endings like you would for any regular verb. So, however, this is not the case for all regular stem changing verbs in the preterite tense. Regular stem changing verbs in the preterite tense change their endings, but they sometimes also change their stem. Look at the example below and notice the stem changes in the preterite tense. So, in the preterite tense, it says, Ayer mi madre le pidió ayuda a la hermosa. So, yesterday my mother asked the flight attendant for help. Okay, so this stem is what changes, not the ending. The stem is the beginning of the word. So the beginnings of your words are going to change. This is practicing stem changing verbs in the present. So it's actually the beginning of the verbs that change, but the endings are the same as your normal preterite tense endings. It's very complicated, and it's definitely, learning all of the Spanish verbs is very difficult, and it takes a lot of practice. All the different changes that you need to make and the irregulars. So there's a lot to learn, and it does take some time to learn it, but we're going to practice, and I'll try to help you as best I can. So go to the next section. Stem changing verbs that end in IR. Okay, so this is verbs that end in IR. So an example is preferir. Okay, so did you know most stem changing verbs that end in AR and ER don't change their stems in the preterite tense? However, verbs that end in IR change their stem in the preterite tense in the third person, singular and plural forms. So this is like when you're talking about she, like singular in third person. So it's like she went to the store, or she prefers to eat cake, not pie, or something like that. So, and the plural forms would be they, like they prefer cake over pie. So in the preterite tense in the third person, in two ways they change their stem, from E to I and from O to U. So this is going to go through, you're going to select each tab to see examples of the conjugation for stem changing verbs that end in IR in the preterite tense. So you've got E to I is preferir. Another example of E to I is vestir. And another example is O to U, which is dormir. So in preferir, if you can click here, and I think it will pull up your verb conjugations for, this is what the whole section will look like. Preferir changes in the third person forms. So those are all your third person forms right there. So it's here, it's preferi. Okay, so your stem doesn't change up here. But down here in these two third person, it's prefiero. Okay, prefieron. Okay, so you've got that I instead of the E. That's what your stem is, how your stem is changing. Okay, so examples are through here, and you can read these examples in English and Spanish. Ella prefiero llegar al aeropuerto temprano. Ellos prefirieron llegar al aeropuerto temprano. Okay, so those are your examples. Some other stem changing verbs that change from E to I are convertir, divertir, sentir, pedir, seguir, impedir, medir, and repetir. So these are all examples, and you can click through here and they'll show you how to conjugate. So if you click that, it should pull up and you can see how these stems change. Okay, seguir, sentir, pedir. Okay, so good study material there. As you click through these, they're just going to show you more and more examples of this. Okay. In this thing, the O in dormir changes to U. Okay, Samuel say dormió cuando el avión despegó. Okay, so